You're watching the India Today Group C Voter Mood of the Nation opinion poll. Things are beginning to heat up in our studios. We're now going to focus on the crucial battleground state of Maharashtra. For those who've just tuned into our broadcast, I want to say that this poll was conducted between the 16th of December and the 16th of January, which is before Arvind Kejriwal's latest dharna. So this is what the situation in Maharashtra looks like. Remember, this is one state where the Congress and the NCP had done really well, because in Maharashtra, the MNS had helped the Congress win on 10 out of the 11 seats where they put up candidates. So what is the situation going to be like? The Congress had 17 seats, the NCP had 8, the BJP 9 and the Shiv Sena 11. Let's take a look at the 2014 projections for Maharashtra. The Congress is coming down from 17 to 9, a loss of 8 seats. The Shiv Sena is going up to 14, the BJP again to 14, the NCP to 5, that's a loss of 3. The MNS is picking up 2 seats in the urban areas around Mumbai. Kejriwal expected to pick up 1 seat again in the Mumbai-Pune region. So this is the broad picture for Maharashtra. The big takeaways, of course, are the fact that the MNS is not as much of a factor from the Congress's perspective, because last time Raj Thakre's candidates had helped the Congress NCP candidates win. That's not happening in this election. We're also seeing the NCP loosening its grip or weakening its grip in the western Maharashtra, the rural areas of western Maharashtra. They're no longer as strong as they used to be. The BJP has managed to pick up a certain number of seats along with the Shiv Sena, but this is not as big a gain as the BJP Shiv Sena would have wanted. From the perspective of our pollsters, Maharashtra is the most important state from the BJP's perspective after Uttar Pradesh to decide where Modi's juggernaut finally halts. This is the projection for Maharashtra. I now want to come to Gujarat, because in Gujarat last time the BJP had done very well, picking up 15 out of the 26 seats. The Congress had picked up 11 seats. Let's see what the 2014 projections for Maharashtra, for Gujarat look like. Here we're seeing the idea of Gujarati Asmita seep in. Voters, respondents in Gujarat rooting for Modi to be Prime Minister. That is pushing the tally for the BJP up from 15 to 21, a gain of 6 seats. The Congress's tally coming down from 11 to 6. Only in northern Gujarat, the Congress is still doing well. Elsewhere, the BJP all across, cutting across middle class, despite caste lines, the BJP is doing really well. They're pushing, they're rooting for Modi to be Prime Minister. Let's now take you to Punjab. The numbers for Punjab indicate that there is a certain level of anti-incumbency against the Akalis. But this is offset by, in urban areas, a pro-Modi surge. Therefore, net-net, the BJP and the Akalis ending up doing better than they did last time. The Congress had picked up 8 seats, the Akalis 4, the BJP 1. Let's see what the 2014 projections look like. The Congress tally from 8 coming down to 6. The Akalis pushing up from 4 to 5, the BJP from 2. Now here is where Manpreet Badal can be a factor, because in Punjab, he has about a 5% vote share. You've got a certain appeal that the Aam Aadmi Party has, not translating into seats yet. But if Manpreet Badal were to tie up with the Aam Aadmi Party in the long run, maybe not in time for the Lok Sabha elections of 2014, but in the long run, they could be a potential threat. There's a certain appeal around the idea of Modi offsetting the anti-incumbency being faced by the Akalis. That is the story in Punjab. Let's now come to Haryana. Haryana is one state where the Congress had picked up 9 out of the 10 seats in the 2009 Lok Sabha elections. The BJP had none, the INLD had none. Let's take a look at how the 2014 projections are shaping up. Here, the Aam Aadmi Party is picking up a 21% vote share, which is very impressive given the fact that this is a debutant, first-time party. However, that's not translating into too many seats, because the Aam Aadmi Party is expected to pick up 1 seat. That is Gurgaon. They're also likely to do very well in Chandigarh, where they're picking up about 38% of the vote share, but that's a union territory. Look at what's happening in Haryana. You've got the BJP with 6 leads. You've got the INLD with 1. There is talk of a potential tie between the INLD and the BJP. Will that help them? Will that help them, or will that actually help Aam Aadmi Party? We don't know. But what we do know is that the Congress's tally projected to come down from 10 to 1. On the 4 states that we've put up, I want to go across to our panel and get them to comment, starting with Shiv Vishwanathan. Trouble all around. You know, you look in the north, you look in the south, you look in the west, there's trouble all over for the Congress party. Shiv.
Actually, at this stage, I'm not very interested in the Congress. There are other things happening which are dynamically more interesting.
What is?
Okay, let's take simple things. In Haryana, there's a possibility that AAP returns as some kind of a player. And I think that's interesting because so far we have moved across states where AAP was a silence. So in that sense, encouraging. Second, if you look at Punjab, I'm interested in the possibility of AAP-like figures emerging. So there's at one level the Modi alchemy in a general sense, and the possibility, whether it's Jharkhand or Punjab, of certain AAP-like figures emerging. And for me, that is interesting. It brings about the possibility of a last-minute dynamic.
No, but those AAP-like figures are making no difference. I think you're getting carried away by what you'd like to see over what these numbers actually show.
Wait a minute. I think victory is not the only kind of difference I'm interested in. I think to a certain extent, certain changes in politics are taking place. The canvas is big. I would like to see what these figures do.
Okay.
To me, that is more interesting as politics than the inexorable role of the BJP.
Smriti Irani from the BJP is joining us. Smriti, fabulous news from the BJP's perspective in each of the states that we've seen so far. I want your thoughts on Maharashtra, which is the second most important state in determining what the final outcome for the BJP will be. But over here, the Shiv Sena and the BJP are registering strong gains, but it's not as if the Congress and the NCP are being wiped out like they are in several other states.
Well, I think whatever little that I've heard of your survey, Rahul, overall the big picture that you're giving us across the nation is a wave for the Bharatiya Janata Party and especially for Narendra Modi's leadership. Vis-a-vis the specifics of Maharashtra, I can't see the data right now, a screen is not available for me. But let me say this, that the people of Maharashtra are extremely burdened by the misgovernance of the Congress NCP, and I'm extremely confident that during Lok Sabha 2014, they shall give a decisive victory to the Shiv Sena BJP combined. Even
okay, Anjali Damania from the Aam Aadmi Party is with us on this broadcast. Anjali, we're seeing in these numbers, there's only one seat being projected, one of the Mumbai seats, and the other seat where the AAP seems to be in contention seems to be the Pune seat. Clearly, neither in Mumbai nor in the rest of Maharashtra is the Aam Aadmi Party in any position to replicate what you did in Delhi.
Well, Rahul, that is what you feel at this moment, or probably what the opinion polls are showing at this moment. But that does not mean that we are going to be just there for the next 3 months. You must be remembering that in Delhi we definitely started a little low and we picked up by the day. That's exactly what's going to happen in Maharashtra also. You also know that in Maharashtra they've made something like a gigantic yuti, which is called a Mahayuti, where BJP has joined hands with few like-minded corrupt parties like them, like the Shiv Sena, the RPI, and now the Swabhimani Shetkari Sangatna. So I definitely would just want to say one thing, that it's not going to be a anti-incumbency. I mean, it's not a huge Modi wave, it's an anti-incumbency wave against the Congress that is catching on across the country.
No, but Veer
not just in Maharashtra, you talk about
Anjali
Gujarat, you talk about any other place.
As a BJP gimmick is actually helping shore up their numbers. The tie-up with the Swabhimani Paksha, the tie-up with the RPI are key local level tabs which national analysts might miss, but that is what incrementally is boosting Modi's tally.
And the other thing I think that's very, very important is, if this poll is right, the Shiv Sena is holding up. The view the last time around was by now Uddhav Thackeray would have led the Shiv Sena to oblivion and the MNS would have taken over and Raj Thackeray was clearly the emerging star. Uddhav Thackeray has held his own. One other point, when the you talked to Anjali about the Aam Aadmi Party, I've been in Bombay the last 3 weeks, and everybody I meet in sort of middle class circles says they will vote for the Aam Aadmi Party because they are against corruption. This includes very corrupt and people with a lot of black money, so that's the irony of it all. But the reason the Aam Aadmi Party won in Delhi was because Kejriwal was able to form a coalition between educated middle class people like Kamal and Yogendra Yadav and Juggi Jhopadiwalas and people at the margins of our society. In Bombay, there is no attempt to reach people at the margins of our society. It's only middle class people who are saying, we are fed up of these parties, we're going to go out and get